such a concerted attempt to deprive the public from seeing the full story on Epstein?
My take, based on the evidence of my eyes and ears, is that we're witnessing one of the biggest political cover-ups in modern history. And if I may, let me just give you an example of why I say that. First and foremost, we know that Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi openly told the American public, we're going to come in and we're going to release the Epstein Files. It's going to show this cabal of corrupt pedophiles and sex traffickers. And then they got in power. They saw the files. What did they do? They closed the Epstein co-conspirator investigation. Done. Wall Street Journal, you know, that flaming leftist socialist right, Wall Street Journal, reported that Pam Bondi told Donald Trump back in April that his name in some capacity was in these files. Donald Trump, when he was asked by an ABC News reporter, he lied about it. Then we know that at least 1,000 plus FBI agents were tasked by the DOJ to find Donald Trump's name and scrub it. They were all sharing the same Excel sheet, which means those FBI agents actually have that information, and we might actually have some whistleblowers from those FBI agents who were tasked from scrubbing the names. What we've also seen so far is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell was serving a 20-year sentence. She was complicit. She's a sex trafficker. No other person with her actual felony has ever been transferred to a minimum security camp in Texas where, Piers, I know you've been covering this, she is being pampered, receiving special treatment. And no one knows to this day why Ghislaine Maxwell got transferred. Finally, I'll also say with Ghislaine Maxwell, she has the goods on this book, this 50-year-old, this 50th birthday party book of Epstein. Wall Street Journal reported it. Donald Trump got furious, threatened to sue them. Wall Street Journal said, go ahead and sue us. We stand by our reporting. And then you have seen that book with that drawing, and not just with Donald Trump, but all these other lewd, disgusting drawings. Then we saw Donald Trump threaten Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, mock them, ridicule them, right? He did a post saying Republicans hold the line. It's an Epstein hoax. Once he saw that the votes were cracking, then he said, okay, I'll release it. So to me, this is the biggest political cover-up I've seen. And I'll say it again. If there's nothing to hide, he has nothing to lose. He can, just right now, Piers, as we're talking, Donald Trump can ask the Department of Justice to release the Epstein Files. Thomas Massie said it yesterday. He was absolutely on point. You don't need any votes. He's negative 35 on the Epstein Files. So you alluded to this. The best way for him to help his presidency, the best way for him to win over 80% of Americans, this is the only thing that Americans agree on, Piers, release the Epstein Files. Democrats, progressives, independents, MAGA, all say release the Epstein Files. He's sinking on this issue. MAGA's cracking over this issue. And I can only think that not only are other powerful men involved, but Donald Trump, his name is there, folks. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. But the best way to clear his name is I got nothing to hide. Here it is, unredacted. Look, I didn't do anything wrong. And then I also hope this entire panel agrees with me. I don't care if there's Democrats, philanthropists, celebrities, progressives, conservatives. If it is shown that these powerful men, regardless of their nationality, Ehud Barak, God forbid, rape girls, were complicit in the cover-up of raping of girls, I want all of these men to burn in hell. And I'm so happy that Larry Summers is being dragged. I don't care. I hope the whole panel agrees with me. If it is shown that men, regardless of their political affiliation, were raping girls or covering up the rape of girls, you burn in hell. And I hope the panel agrees with me.
Yeah, listen, I mean, ironically, we will probably have to redact one of those two names you just said because of how you linked it. Because actually fair justice does require that, right? You know, that there are people being accused of extremely serious things here, and they are entitled to a fair trial. So it's an interesting thing where you can't, even in our free democratic society, whether here in London, where you guys are in the United States, you can't just blurt out stuff about people like that and not give them a chance to defend themselves. I agree with that principle.
But Piers, may I jump in? Yeah. May I jump in? Which name are you referring to, if you don't mind? Are you talking about,
I'm talking about
the
first one
of the two?
And what's the first one?
Oh, Ehud Barak? You mean the former Prime Minister of Israel, who it's confirmed had a very close relationship with Epstein?
Yeah, I'm saying the juxtaposition.
Well,
let me be clear. I'm saying the juxtaposition of his name with what Wajahat said next. God forbid he did blah blah blah.
Allegedly.
Okay, but then if I said that about you, allegedly, you wouldn't want your name just floated out there. So, in other words...
But wait, Piers, real quick, about Ehud Barak, the reason why I mentioned Ehud Barak, and this is all alleged, folks, is because Ehud Barak was photographed multiple times at Jeffrey Epstein's apartment.
Yeah, I agree.
Furthermore, Drop Site released emails of Ehud Barak's aide staying at Epstein's
I agree.
apartment.
So I'm not.
Answer the question. That's all
let
I'm
me
saying.
be clear. I'm not disputing for a moment. He clearly was a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein and clearly spent a lot of time with him. I'm just saying the juxtaposition of putting a name like that out there next to what you then said. You can see, we can all see, right? That's where
it's
this
just you need evidence, and certainly it should be.
You're right. You are correct that there's no evidence yet or anything tying Ehud Barak to any type of sexual impropriety. I agree with you on that.
Right.
However, there is some reporting from Dropsite News as a result of those, releases from the House Oversight Committee that seems to be completely ignored by the corporate media and legacy media. And those emails and those correspondences indicate that Ehud Barak was working with Epstein to make all sorts of deals on behalf of the government of Israel. For instance, he helped to facilitate the sale of Israeli cyber weapons. And so he found financing for that effort, through a particular bank, I believe in Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Please check out Dropsite News for their incredible reporting on this. They show the receipts and they base it on what has been released both through Ehud Barak's emails and also through the documents that were released by the House Oversight Committee.
I'm angry about this. It will, in the end, for Donald Trump, he's got to be careful that the drip, drip, drip doesn't become the unstoppable, inferno's the wrong analogy, I would say like a tidal wave, right, which sinks you because of the cover-up or perceived cover-up. And I think Watergate is a good example. If you just had the initial incident, then Nixon could have survived that if he'd been completely upfront at the time. It was the lying that went on about the incident that did for him.
Well, Piers, I want to say there's 4 leaks, if you will, when it comes to this drip, 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 that I don't think the Trump administration, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi can truly plug. These are the 4 leaks that they have to be worried about. First and foremost, the Epstein estate. We know that the Epstein estate has actually given Democrats a tranche of documents. They haven't released all of it. And we still don't know what the Epstein estate has, number 1. Number 2, the FBI agents tasked by the DOJ to look at these files and scrub Donald Trump's name. Some of the whistleblowers are alarmed and horrified by the evidence, the photos that they've seen. And they all, in a very reckless, foolish, and stupid manner, were sharing an open Excel sheet. So we don't know with these FBI agents, if there are any whistleblowers there, what information they have, number 2. Number 3, Ghislaine Maxwell. Again, who is in a minimum security camp being pampered right now. We know, folks, we can trust our brain here, our logic, our intelligence, that birthday book, that 50th birthday book of Jeffrey Epstein that contains the names of all these powerful people who sent him some lewd messages, including Donald Trump, she's probably sitting on some more information. And Pierce, if she's seeing George Santos and CZ get pardoned, you better believe she ain't spending 20 years of her life in prison. And then the 4th leak is the most powerful. The thousands of survivors, the girls who were raped, the women now who are emboldened, that powerful ad, I'm sure we all saw it over the weekend, where they're holding photos of themselves. You know, I thought it was extremely powerful and sobering. I was 16, I was 15. These girls who are now women finally realize, oh, people are listening to us and our story. Virginia Giuffre, from the dead, her story. If there was no there, Pierce, Andrew would be Prince Andrew.
I agree.
A week before Virginia Giuffre's memoir came out.
And also, Wajahat, on that, once you know that Andrew is lying about the timeline of how long he stayed in contact with Epstein, which we now do, then you look at all the other things he's denied with a new, very skeptical eye. Not least, for example, the picture of him with his arm around Virginia Giuffre, that he's tried to muddy the waters about his veracity. He said he doesn't remember it happening, trying to get some advisors to come on, friends of his, to say it's a fake and so on. You know, it's now pretty well agreed that was a genuine picture. Epstein admits it in one of the emails that have been leaked. So that sort of series of denials that Andrew made is unraveling. And that is what's done for him. And, you know, it'd be interesting how this plays out. The only way Andrew makes any comeback whatsoever in the rest of his life, into public life, is if he goes and does a full interview under oath with the FBI. He's ever going to do it, but that's the only way. So he's gone. Lord Mandelson, who was our ambassador to the US, gone. Because again, the timeline revealed from that he had put forward revealed he was very cozy with Epstein going forward. I just want to pivot. It's fascinating. I could talk about this for days. It's really interesting. But